And your other projects, I mean, my understanding is you got the Paleochanic roll front, then you got the Unconformity uranium targets, which is the Northern Territory stuff that you do.
Yeah.
Can you just give us a layman's, commentary on that?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so that's a very different thing. You know how I said before about how, a lot of typical metal mines, you'll have a fluid that's introduced into a system, and that's, the fluid is high in whatever it is that you're interested in, and it gets the right physical and geochemical environment for it to drop out in a particular location. Well, an unconformity uranium deposit is essentially that. The trick about unconformity, it would be fair to say that in the industry there is a little bit of disagreement or debate about whether or not the source of uranium in unconformity deposits are from the cover sequences, so in what they would call top-down sort of models of precipitation, and then perhaps the older school of thinking is that it's what they call bottom-up, where you've got fluids that have come from depth, introduced into the system from deeper parts in the Earth's surface, comes up, hits the unconformity, and that's the right physical environment for the uranium to precipitate. So I think the debate is still ongoing with that one, but at the end of the day, an unconformity deposit is really just shorthand for saying, because an unconformity, the uranium that can occur in those deposits doesn't necessarily mean it has to be right on the unconformity. It can be above the unconformity, it can be below the unconformity, or it can go across the entire thing. So, in our presentation and in our materials in the prospectus, you'll see that we have a cartoon of a deposit that was found not long ago by Cameco called Angulari up in the Alligators Rivers region. And that shows that, the uranium deposit sort of starts below the unconformity, becomes quite substantial at the unconformity surface itself, and then continues into the cover sequences above it. So the unconformity is like a geological marker for where this is occurring. And so, it's become shorthand for saying, encapsulating a lot of deposit types that, may not necessarily be at the unconformity, if you will. So, but anyway, just got to be careful about that. But having said that, it is, at the end of the day, it's a hard rock uranium deposit of higher grade. It's one of the reasons why we're looking there. So you get, very good deposit quality. The Rangers, the Koongaras, the Jabilukas of the world, these are world-class deposits, right? And that's in the Alligator Rivers region of the Northern Territory. So we're in there looking for new ones of those. And just going to that with that Mount Douglas project, Noel. So the main project we have granted in that area is called Mount Douglas. It's not in the Alligators Rivers region. It's in what's called the Pine Creek origin. So if you look at a geological map of Northern Territory, all the old rocks are sort of clustered around that sort of northern third of the Northern Territory, and that's where all the uranium deposits have been found, or the majority of the uranium deposits have been found in clusters in that area. So whether it's in around Rum Jungle, or you've got the Coronation Hill style deposits in the southern part of the Pine Creek origin, then you've got in the northeast the Alligators Rivers region, which is the most famous part of it. Our project, Mount Douglas, was sort of the brainchild of one of our advisors, a guy called Jeff Upini. And Jeff's been involved in unconformity deposits for 50 plus years, right? He was there when Ranger was discovered and drilled out back in the early 70s. So he's seen his fair share of unconformity uranium deposits. He had this idea that the geology in the Alligators Rivers region was being reflected in this other part of the Pine Creek origin, just poorly recognised as such. There is, in our project area, we have what's called the Combolgi sandstone, which is the cover sequence, and below that is the unconformity. And we've proved that unconformity occurs out at our project area. So the depth of erosion at Mount Douglas is deeper than at the Alligators Rivers region. So we're closer to the unconformity surface. So people who are exploring for uranium in the Alligators Rivers region are drilling through cover sequences to get to the good stuff, whereas we are going to be looking or exploring the sequences much closer to the action. We're either at or close to the unconformity surface at Mount Douglas. So it's a really exciting area.